everybody. Okay, so I'm a couple minutes late. Yeah, but the title that I gave it is true. Drama's coming. I can feel it. Um, I say because, well, number one, it's been a little too calm after, the whole thing with the Ian and Jordan, and they were kind of taken off the story. It's been a little too calm for the last couple of weeks. So, um, yeah. And also, the way Victor is almost determined to wreak some havoc for Jack at least. And it's kind of sad because he wants to get back at Jack for only one reason. And we found out what the reason was yesterday because he was talking to somebody, probably Nikki, and he screamed, you know, um, he almost killed Nikki, so he has to pay for it. I'm like, okay, wow. Okay, keep that in mind. And everything I say is going to be related to that in some way because um, Kyle is Jack's son. So whatever he does to Jack, kind of Kyle feels, but secondhand. And for some reason, I told you guys the thing about Claire and Kyle and Victor not liking him is because, well, two things. Victor has a very long memory and he forgets nothing. And so he remembers how Kyle broke Summer's heart from way before, and he is determined to not have the same thing happen to Claire. Admirable, but these kids are not kids. They're over 21, so they can make their own choices. Um, and I kind of feel bad for Claire for a second because she says, "Is there anything we can do or say that'll change your mind?" And Victor says, "No, just plain no." And so she's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place because she's clearly in love with Kyle, but is she going to follow her grandfather's advice or do her own thing? And then also, if she does her own thing and say it does happen where they break up or something, then Victor is going to say, "Remember, I told you so. I told you, I tried to warn you." Something like that. Okay, so we have that. And then we have Jack and Diane happen to walk in right after Victor has dropped the bomb. And so uh, Jack innocently asks, you know, "What happened here? What just happened here?" And Nikki says, "Believe me, you don't want to know." So there's enough. Um, and he did a little dig to Jack and Diane too. He said, "Enjoy your fabricated happiness." And yes, it's not funny, but the way he said it was comical for a second. And with as much drama as was going on today, you needed a bit of comic relief, even if it was kind of a dig at somebody. So, okay. On the other side, well, there's two minor stories here, um, which now that I've been paying attention, I a lot. I noticed that Michelle Stafford is either on or really off, and even her kids today, Daniel and Summer, were worried about her whereabouts because Daniel put it in a way that I could understand it. He said, you know, for a time there, I couldn't get mom to stop calling me, and now I can't get a hold of her for anything. So that makes me worry. And then Summer says, "Well, mom, once she gets something in her head, she either follows the shiny object or she's on to the next venture and she dives head first into things. So she's just off on one of her whatever. And Daniel says, but don't you think it's odd that she would just jump the country and not even tell us? And I'm going, yeah, but no, because I've seen Phyllis before, and yeah, Phyllis does get like harebrained scheme ideas in her head, and she just runs with it. And remember last week, she did jump a plane to France and apparently meet up with Billy to talk about business matters or whatever. Although I did clarify that slightly, and I said, well, she came with the ruse of that, but the reality is she was wearing a suggestive dress, very low cut, and I'm not saying anything about the wardrobe. I'm saying that when you wear a wardrobe like that, your intentions are clear to anybody with eyeballs. So, yeah. Okay, the other storyline involving Victor is Michael was talking to Lauren today and finally coming clean about everything that happened when he was held hostage, and then Victor almost let him go, said, you can leave. And Michael stayed and said, no matter what happens, I'm not leaving you because you showed me what loyalty and family means more than my own father. I remember that line, and it's going to stick with me for a while because it was so poignant at the time. It still is. But I mean, in the moment, it was like, geez, okay, now I understand the bond they had. Because for the longest time, I just thought Michael was really loyal to Victor. And I said, okay, that's good because Victor likes loyalty. But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, but why is he so loyal? That sentence right there told me everything I need to know. So, cool. Okay. But with Michael and Lauren being married so long, that when Michael was telling her the story, she said, okay, so you just told me what you told Chance. Now, what's the truth? So, yeah. And then also, if, which is, doesn't totally apply here, but if there was any kind of legal trouble, uh, Michael would know better than anybody. There's spousal protection. So if he tells Lauren something, Lauren doesn't have to tell them what he told her. Spousal privilege. Sorry, I forgot the word for a second. But privilege. So yeah. Um. Okay. So now, and then here's the. Okay, as far as scenes go, the best scene today was in the very beginning because um I gotta say, which I discussed this a little bit yesterday about how Summer is way more invested on what happens to Kyle after she's divorced from him. Okay, I'm not gonna cover that again. What I'm gonna say is you can tell by her face that she cares a little more than the ex-wife. And even Daniel said, why are you looking at him like that? Why do you care so much? So are you jealous or something? And she says, no, no, I'm not jealous. I'm just concerned. I'm like, yeah, right. Even I'm not buying that one. So yeah, that was the most interesting thing today. All right. Bye guys.